Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from the UK. Today is Sunday, it's the 2nd of May 2021, which is crazy. I mean, how did that happen? It is a bank holiday weekend, which is just fantastic and much needed. So if you're watching for the very first time, then a huge welcome to you. I really hope that you will enjoy this podcast, which is mostly about mostly about knitting, and also a bit of spinning, crochet, and just whatever yarny adventures I get into. And if you're coming back, thank you so much for being a regular viewer of the podcast. Once again, I just kind of randomly decided to podcast today. I am surrounded by a mountain of stuff, and what happens is the more I have to talk about, the more sort of, I don't want to say anxious I get about recording, but the harder it gets to do that final push to hit record and just go through all the steps, because there is just so much stuff to memorize, to talk about. So I think what we'll do first is we'll quickly talk about the winner of the Happy Socks knit along. So that was a knit along to knit either or any of my patterns on either Ravelry or PAYHIP. So if you don't know, I do have a couple of pattern designs and I have been quite focused on socks these last few months. So it was a Instagram sort of hashtag thing. So I drew the winner of the hashtag of Instagram, like I just said. And the winner is Blog, who is a viewer and knitter from Belgium. So massive congratulations to you. Just let me know that you've won through Instagram or something, and I will get you in touch with Deb, who is Deb Milstein. She's a designer and she also has the Late Night Knits website, and you will be able to both pick a pattern of your choice and get one of Deb's coasters, which are really fun. I talked about them in the past. So thank you so much both to everyone who joined in, as well as Deb, who donated that prize. Honestly, I wish I had been a bit more active in that knit along. I did knit a pair of socks, but it just kind of fell in a time that ended up being very, very busy and exhausting. So some of the bigger plans that I had for this knit along just kind of didn't come to fruition, and you know what? I'm okay with it. I think at some point this year we'll have a bigger knit along with more prizes and more winners, and I don't know, some more grandiose theme. But yeah, things are the way they are, and it was really fun to just see everyone's socks popping up on Instagram. So thank you again. All right, should we get into some works in progress or finished objects? Let's do finished objects first. So I have a bunch of them. First of all, let's talk about the sweater that I'm knitting. I finished my Strange Brew sweater. So this is one of the many Strange Brew sweaters that I've knit in the past. It is a pattern by Tin Can Knits. It's basically a recipe to design your own sweater, which I think is just so much fun. And I keep going back to it because it is just genius. I think I've talked about this pattern repeatedly over the last 2 or 3 years for sure. So I'm not going to go into any details, but I did the fingering weight version. I used Rauma Lammöl, which is Rauma's lamb's wool yarn, which I love. It's the first time using it. It is a little bit lighter than Rauma Vinyl, which I think many of you may already know. And it just worked out to like the perfect weight for me. And it is very soft for, I mean, it is a non-superwash woolly yarn, but being what it is, if you are into sort of more rustic yarns, this one I really enjoyed. And yeah, it took a while because the gauge was relatively tight. I think I did this on 3mm needles, and honestly I did kind of both sleeves at the same time, and when I had them sort of up to here, I was going to just finish it off, do 3/4 length sleeves, and I tried it on and I was like, yeah, I really don't want to, but I should make longer sleeves. And it was such a slog, but you guys, I'm so happy I went and did those sleeves, because I think now it is really the perfect sweater. It's got quite a bit of positive ease. It's really comfortable. It's got long sleeves. I did these sort of contrasting hems on the bottom of the sweater and the sleeves, which I think is a really cute detail. And I am so happy with this garment. I just put it on and it fits really well. Yeah, I'm over the moon with this. It is exactly the sort of thing that I love. You know, it is rustic, it is color work, it's just everything that I love about a sweater. So I am very happy with this. I'm kind of going to go through everything relatively quickly today because it is a lot and I don't want to be sitting here for an hour or more. I just don't have the time. I just don't have the energy to edit all of that. So I'm sorry, I'm going to be kind of quick and just show you a bunch of stuff. And if you're more interested, I usually try to keep my Ravelry notes somewhat up to date. I know not everyone can use Ravelry, which is really annoying. I still haven't found an alternative, but I will keep an eye open for that. And until then, use the Ravelry link, which I will provide down below if you can, if you need more info, and otherwise just ask me. Next up, let's talk about a very proud finish of mine. I have finished this bunny. Oh my god, you guys, this is sort of an endless story because before Christmas I thought, you know what, I would like to make some toys for my little boy, but knitting them would take forever and it's really fiddly, and you know what's really fast? Crochet is really fast, so why don't I just crochet a toy? So I actually got a couple of kits, yes, I said a couple, from Toft, which is a UK-based company, I'm not quite sure where they are, that make these really adorable animals, and you could get like a kit with everything that you need. And I thought they were going to be quick projects, so maybe I would do one for Christmas and one for Easter and so on. Yeah, I've been working on this since Christmas. I mean, I did put it on many times, but this was much more sort of work intensive than I thought. And honestly, I think I could have knit like 4 or 5 toys in the time that it took me to make this. But I am, again, really proud of this as well. This is Emma the Bunny. I think it's one of their most popular sort of beginner patterns by Toft. Mine is in no way perfect, but I love it. Its ears have already been kind of chewed and played with, which is exactly what it is for. And yeah, I am very, very proud of this little guy or girl or whatever. So yeah, it is done, and honestly, I need to take a break before I do the second one. I'm not sure I'm going to get into these sort of crochet animals. I like doing crochet for blankets, but this sort of thing on a tight sort of gauge is not really my thing, but I love the outcome. So Emma the Bunny is done. But wait, there's more. I also finished the socks that I was working on when I was talking to you last time. This is one of the Opal colorways. It's their 100 Wasser not base. They did a sort of series, I think quite a few years ago, where they based colorways of 100 Wasser paintings and artworks. So this is one of them. Again, sorry I don't have the ball band with me, but you can find the exact colorway in my Ravelry project pages. It's just a basic pair of socks. I did stockinette socks over 64 stitches using a US 1.5, 2.25 millimeter needle. No, that's a US 1. I can't believe I forgot that, sorry. But again, they're just plain stockinette socks and they are done. I've really been into sock knitting lately. I think it's just with the baby crawling and cruising all over the place. I needed projects that I can just pick up and knit and then put down again. And socks have been great for that. Which is why I finished another pair. I can't believe how much knitting I got lately. It feels like I never have time for anything. And suddenly I have a pile of FOs, but I think I was kind of stress knitting. So sometimes the less time I have, the more I just try to cram as much knitting as I possibly can in, and I just knit as fast as I can. And I love these socks. I've been wanting to do these sort of, I would say that they look kind of like dip dye socks, you know, with a contrasting toe for a while, and So I went into my stash and I had this black and white yarn, which is hedgehog fibers in the magpie colorway. And then I just went and looked for the most neon colored mini skein that I could find. And this is actually some leftovers from a colorwork sock that I knit maybe a year ago. This is Socks Yeah by Coop Knits in the Xenon colorway. It is very, very neon. I'm not sure how it's showing up on screen, but it is the brightest magenta pink that you could imagine. And I just kind of made up a little stripe sequence. I knit these toe up. And I love these socks so much. And in fact, Kai, my husband, really liked them as well and asked for a similar pair, just with a different contrast color. So I actually made sure I had enough yarn left over to make him a matching pair, and I will just use a different yarn for the toes. So that way, if you ever want to, use up a very special yarn or you only have half a skein, these took less than 50 grams of the main color, and I have quite big feet. So yeah, this way you can actually make 2 pairs of socks out of one skein of sort of fancy indie dyed yarn or a 50-gram skein. So these were just so addictive to knit. They just flew by. We've been re-watching Breaking Bad, and I think I'm seeing it for the 3rd time. Kai is seeing it for the 5th time because he just loves it that much. And this is what I knit while we were watching them. So yeah, that is quite a few finished objects for this week. Actually, now that I've been kind of talking and thinking about why I've gotten more knitting done, I think one of the major reasons is that our little boy has finally decided to go to bed really early. He barely naps. He's too busy during the day to explore. He can't nap. Like, who has the time for that? So the one good thing about that is that he's just tuckered out at night and he goes to bed really well at the moment. So then from like 7:30ish, I can just knit and there's no baby to interfere, which makes, I think, my making a lot more efficient, and that is probably one of the major reasons why I have more knitting done than usual, which is great. Yeah, so let's talk about some works in progress, shall we? So where do we start? Let's start with a work in progress that is basically just spread out all over my couch. This is the Winter's Beach Cardi, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, who is Drea Renee Knits. I showed this to you last week. This is a cabled cardigan, and it is kind of hard to show at the moment, but it is knit from the bottom up. So I've done the ribbing, I've done the main part of the body, and then I have separated it for the sleeves. So I have knit one front is done. Now I am working up the back, and then I need to do the second front. So this is coming along pretty nicely. I'm very excited to have this done. To be honest, I think this will be a great garment just for everyday wear. I've been wearing so much knitwear lately, especially now that it's kind of springy. It isn't really warm yet, but it is warmer. So I've been sometimes just using like a single layer of knitwear as my outer layer, and it's been great. And this is a DK weight, very sort of woolly yarn, which I think will just be great for spring, for autumn, and well, almost all year round, considering we live in the UK where the summers do seem to be very short. So this is where we are with that. I'm still loving this pattern. I love the cables, although I will say by now I'm kind of getting sick of them a little bit. So I will be very happy when I'm finished with the main body of the sweater, because the sleeves are just simple stockinette. And because this is a dropped shoulder sort of design, the sleeves won't be very long anyways. So I'm enjoying it, but I'm also really looking forward to having this guy done. And the yarn that I'm using for this, and I just dropped another whip, is a British yarn that is very much sort of a local yarn from Yorkshire. And everything about this yarn, I think the sheep are raised and milled, the yarn is milled and dyed and everything within 50 miles, which is really, really cool. This is Sheep Soft DK by Laxton's. So I hope you can see that. And this is dialogue number 1 because apparently this is quite a new yarn and it is very sort of woolly. It's all British wool and I love it. So that's one thing that I've been working on, and honestly I could cast on all these new things, but I'm really trying to just get some whips done. Having talked about getting whips done, I do have 2 new whips, works in progress that is. So one of them was kind of inspired by my spinning group, lovely Lynn, Carol and Becky. We talk a lot about yarn, about spinning, and they've kind of inspired me to cast on with this yarn, which is a yarn that I spun a while ago. So I spun a sweater's quantity of Gotland yarn. So this is 100% Gotland in a natural shade. So the sheep are gray and the yarn is the natural color of the sheep. And I spun this, I believe, on my e-spinner. I am 80% sure I spun this on my Ashford e-spinner 3, and it is a 2-ply. It's about a sport weight yarn. I have about 1,100 meters of this. And the more I had this sitting on my shelf, the more I got worried that I didn't spin it well enough and I wouldn't like the yarn, so I didn't knit it up. And the other day, the girls just kind of gave me a push to cake up this yarn and knit it up. So you can't really see much of what I'm knitting at the moment. It's just kind of a woolly blob. But this is the Trescau sweater by Along Avec Anna. I hope I didn't butcher the name. I'm not quite sure how you say it. But it is a free top-down raglan sweater. It's really simple and effective. I really like it. It's just got these beautiful sort of eyelet raglan increases, and otherwise it's a sort of loose cropped sweater. And yeah, I really like it. I mean, I could have done something more intricate, but in a similar vein to all of my sock knitting, having a stockinette sweater means that I can just work on it very, very easily, and it's a pretty good contrast to the heavily cabled cardigan that I'm making right now. And it's just kind of, I think it's going to be a really good sort of staple basic sweater that I can just throw on. And yeah, you can really see the yarn shine in this stockinette fabric as well. So what's really interesting about this, I'm not sure if you can tell, but this yarn is quite fluffy. I didn't spin this true woolen style, but it is a very sort of light, low twist yarn, I guess, and it's got a bit of a halo. Like, not sure if you can tell, it doesn't quite look how holding a mohair would look with regular sort of superwash yarn, but it does have a bit of that sort of halo-y effect, and I think the more that I wear this, the more soft and halo-y it's going to get, and I really like it. So yeah, I mean, again, it is a very woolly fiber. This is not a merino, but it's actually quite soft, and I really like the feel of it. And honestly, it is a bit of a slog knitting it right now, but I'm looking forward to splitting for the sleeves, and then I think I can just go round and round and round and round, and I'm really happy to be using up my hand-spun sweater quantity. So yeah, and then I have one more cast on, and I literally started this yesterday. Because, I mean, I can't not have any socks on the needles. I think there's an unwritten law that you have to always have socks on the needles. So I cast on with this yarn that actually my husband gifted to me a while ago. This is a beautiful gobstopper ball by a British indie dyer as well. Actually, I think she's in Scotland. I should really know these things, I really don't. But this is from the Dotty Wool Co. And the colorway is called Mary and Bread. So I do think it was a Christmas called colorway, and I think we got it on sale right after Christmas. But this doesn't look Christmassy to me. I think it's a perfectly all year springy colorway. And I am doing some plain stockinette strappy socks, and I love these so much. I love these colors. They're really sort of soft, and then you have that pop of yellow in there, which I love yellow. I actually just got myself a new jacket, like outdoor, almost like a wintry jacket in exactly that yellow, and I just love it so much. So I love these socks, and these ones I will definitely knit for myself. So I'm doing 64 stitches, US size 1, my usual 2.25 millimeter needles, and I love this. One more thing I have to show you is, yes, I have actually done more spinning, and I brought it to show you. So again, everything about the yellow at the moment, I just love like the yellows and mustard shades. I always love them. I think I have quite a few garments in that color, but right now at the moment I'm just kind of coming back to that color. And this spin is from Fiber from John Arbon in his Viola range, which I believe is 100% Falkland Merino. Sorry. And this was a beautiful fiber to spin, and I think it turned out really, really well. It's actually still a little bit wet. I just kind of scanned it up to show you. This is one skein, a bit less than 100 grams, and it's about 465 or 470 meters, so that's like over 500 yarns. So this is a light fingering 2-ply yarn, and I love how it came out. I'm just going to untwist it. So this took ages to spin and to ply. I don't know why I'm forgetting all words today, but this was such a satisfying skein of yarn to finish. I am definitely going to turn this into a shawl, I think. It's been a while since I've been so excited about a finished spinning project. It's just got the perfect drape, the perfect twist angle, everything about this. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I reckon that some of this fiber was dyed in sort of like it was like a natural grayish shade before, so there's a bit of like heatheredness going through it, and it's just beautiful. So I need to, well, first off, I need to dry it completely and then wind it up, and then I'm almost tempted to try and design something with this. I mean, who knows if it's going to happen, but yeah, I would like to. So that is my finished spinning object for the week. And I think that is pretty much all that I've been working on. Actually, one more thing that I can show you is my Scrappy Blanket. And this blanket actually lives in this room. I'm recording from my front room / craft room / baby free zone. So I mentioned last week that we decided to kind of redo this room a little bit, because this room just kind of got all the leftover furniture that was left from the previous tenants and left from our move, and we just kind of stuffed everything into this room. And then a few weeks ago we decided to we didn't even spend much money, but we got this new couch that I'm sitting on, we got a new what's the word, coffee table, which is eventually going to move into our living room, but right now our baby is just going to ruin it. So it's going to stay here until he's a little bit older and less likely to ruin it completely. Anyways, so in this room, this has become sort of my safe haven whenever I can just spend some time with my wheel and Kai is looking after the baby. And one project that lives here is my Scrappy Blanket. So I talked about this, I think 2 episodes ago. This is, well, essentially it is a free pattern that a German designer kind of did a YouTube pattern for. So if you're German, you can look it up. It's called Monsterdecke. But essentially what it is, and I think I can say this because it is a free pattern and not everyone, I believe, speaks German. It is a garter stitch blanket, and you do an I-cord on each side. And what a lot of people are doing is they're holding 3 strands of yarn together, so it becomes this really squishy scrap blanket, and then you can just kind of knit all your scraps into it, and it kind of does this really fun sort of marling effect. So what I'm doing is I have this massive box of leftover yarns, and they're all like little balls, and I'm actually holding one solid color throughout the entire blanket. Hang on. Yeah, that's gone missing, sorry. But it's the sort of mauvey purple. I had a sweater quantity of this, but I realized I'm never going to knit this into a sweater because it's just a very light fingering weight superwash yarn. It's not even expensive. It's just something that I don't think I'm going to knit into a sweater eventually. So I decided to hold one strand of that purple throughout the entire blanket to maybe just give it a bit more cohesiveness, and then the other 2 strands I just use whatever minis I feel like, and here we are. So you can knit this blanket into a rectangle, or you can do it into a square. So right now I think I'm gonna do the square thing. So I'm just increasing, and then at some point I will decrease instead. And it is getting quite big. So I may actually almost be halfway done. I just need to decide what I want to be my halfway point, and then I will start decreasing. And yeah, this is so much fun. I'm not working on this a ton. It's just whenever I'm in here, which is not that often, I will just pick this up and knit a row or 2. And yeah, I think this is going to be a very well-loved blanket in our house. It is so squishy by holding 3 strands of fingering weight sock yarn together. And I'm trying to only use sock yarn or superwash yarn for this, so that I can just throw it in the washing machine. Because blankets do somehow get dirty when you have a baby, apparently. So yeah, there is that. Alright, you guys, that is it in terms of the yarny and fibery content of this episode. I hope I didn't go through everything too quickly. There's just so much stuff, and it becomes a bit too much sometimes. So if you're only here for the knitting, then I will just see you whenever I podcast next. But if you do want to stick around, I'll just kind of talk about what's been happening in our house and in our lives, I guess. So yeah, here in the UK, we are definitely coming out of lockdown very quickly now, and it is great. Obviously, it takes some getting used to, and I know we have to be very, very grateful to be in a pretty good situation right now. So yeah, we've been doing stuff again, which feels really weird. I mean, it's been more or less a year of being very restricted, and we're still being very careful. We are doing testing twice a week. But yeah, we have outdoor like pubs and stuff are open again. You can go into stores, which still feels so strange. We were walking through our town center today, and it's like, you can just go into a store? That feels wrong. But we've been really enjoying it. Loosening the restrictions also means that I was able to finally join a baby class, which has been really fun. And yeah, we've just kind of been meeting friends. Kai has, for the first time, been meeting his colleagues in person, which is crazy. We've been here for ages. And spring is definitely on the way as well. So it's just suddenly this whole world of opportunities and possibilities is there. So yeah, that's been really, really fun. We've also been doing a lot of gardening again. We finally have potatoes growing, and I have fingers crossed for carrots, different kinds of carrots and chilies and peppers, and we're going to go do courgette later, I think towards the end of May. And I've also been trying my hand at different kinds of flowers and peonies and shrubs and all kinds of stuff. So we've just kind of been experimenting with that. Our roof has been fixed. It took 4 weeks, and yeah, it wasn't really fun. But our roof seems to have been fixed now, at least. I mean, we're waiting now to see if our sort of leaks dry out. I think they should be. They did a good job, I'm pretty sure. But we still have holes like this big in our bathroom because it was mainly affecting our bathroom wall, which was quite wet. So apparently they had to like make holes in it and put a camera in there and remove stuff through the hole. So from the inside it still looks pretty terrible, but I think we're going to wait a few weeks to see how quickly everything dries out, and then it will be decided whether they're just going to patch up the wall and redecorate, or maybe, fingers crossed this doesn't happen, they'll have to actually build a new wall. So yeah, the house saga never ends. But I think we're kind of moving forward, which is good. In that spirit, our washing machine broke, and our landlords were like, "Oh yeah, we know about that issue," because we had been trying to fix it and kind of been fixing it for a couple of months now. But then one day it just kind of gave up. So we were without a washing machine for a while, which wasn't fun. But now we have a new washing machine, and I've been playing with the fancy wool settings and all of that. And yeah, I am in that age now where I get really, really excited about a new washing machine. Yeah, so that's been happening. I feel like there's all the stuff that I've wanted to mention, but now I can't think of anything. Yeah, so I think I might just let you guys go. Oh yeah, I cut my hair. That's another thing. For the first time since lockdown, I went to a hairdresser's and oh my goodness, it was amazing. I mean, just the fact that I didn't have to speed wash my hair or have a 8-month-old watching me in the shower, but to actually take my time and have someone do it for me, which was great. And as you can maybe tell, my hair is quite a bit shorter. It was getting really, really, really long. And we have a hair puller in the family now, so I was like, yeah, just chop some of it off, make it easier for me, just do whatever. And they did, and I really like the outcome. Also, it's probably never going to look this nice again because once I have to style it myself, I mean, all of that's going to go out of the window. But for right now, I am enjoying my new haircut. Yeah, so just being able to make an appointment and get my hair cut was really nice. Yeah, so today is Sunday, as I mentioned. It is a Sunday night, so we're going to have a nice dinner tonight. We've been eating so unhealthy. I mean, to be fair, I've also been doing a lot of sports lately, which has been great. But we're like, yeah, we need to have like a proper, nice, healthy meal, so that's what we're doing tonight. Tomorrow, very excitingly, one of my best friends here, she also has a baby. But we decided, since it is long weekend, it's a bank holiday weekend, we're going to leave the babies with the dads and we're going to have a baby-free brunch, which should be really great. I'm very much looking forward to being able to eat something in peace and be like, yeah, let's order a second coffee and not just like shuffle everything in, because someone will inevitably either want to participate or do all sorts of things. Let's just leave it at that. And yeah, so we're also planning to just discover more of the area as much as we possibly can. I think we're going to go into London for the first time since moving here 6.5 months ago on Tuesday, which is just so exciting. Yeah, we have my birthday coming up as well, so I need to decide whether I want to do anything for that. I, spoiler alert, have also already bought myself some birthday yarn. I haven't been buying any yarn since March, but I decided to treat myself for my birthday, and it is my birthday, so I don't care. So that yarn is still in its package, and I will only open it on my birthday, which is about 2 weeks away. Yeah, that is pretty much it. I feel like I've been waffling on forever now. I have no idea how long I've been recording. But I really hope that you have enjoyed this episode. I hope it wasn't too all over the place, but I mean, they usually are. So if you keep coming back, you know what you're in for. So thank you again so much for watching today. Thank you if you participated in the knit along or if you've been purchasing any of my patterns. That is greatly appreciated. Until I see you again, I hope you have a great time with a lot of knitting, crocheting, crafting time. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you very, very soon. Happy knitting. Bye.